The Flash issue 69. Mark Waid writing with plot assist by, as this book credited him as Jerry Jones, for whatever reason. But Greg LaRocque's on the art, so this is definitely the Flash issue because the artist obviously tells us that. If you were at all confused,
as if the cover didn't.
You know what I mean? No, like they've kept the same, the regular artist on it. And this starts kind of as we expected with the same sort of event happening with them moving into the castle, but from Wally's perspective, and we get to hear what he was up to, and it reestablishes some of the same details. But he gets a call from Linda where he agreed to be on a TV show, on her talk show that morning, as Connor's getting more booze.
Did you say more booze? Like I've had a lot. You don't know how much I've had.
I don't need to.
Screw you.
So he's going to race around the planet because it's 2 minutes, but obviously he's not even fast enough to get to the other side of the planet at that time. So he uses their teleporter after he assembles it.
He has to assemble it very quickly, yeah.
And he decides, you know what, I've got time now. I'm going to make some food and check my my phone messages or something, whatever he's doing. He
gets very annoyed that the microwave even takes too long.
Yes. Well, given that he only has 2 minutes from the phone call to when he's supposed to be on camera, and this all happens in that 2 minutes, but this explains why he didn't stay back and answer the phone. So it retroactively made this less of a dick move because he was running late for something for Linda.
Yeah, that felt like a particularly breezy move last time.
Yeah.
Right?
Whereas here it's like, yeah, it's okay, I get it, it's fine.
That's what you've got a machine there for.
But he does, as he's running on the way to the TV studio, he encounters Hector Hammond, who is causing chaos with a bus. People are falling out of the bus and everything.
And Hammond's like, oh, yes, perfect.
Yeah, basically this was a trap for the Flash, because because there's a bit of fighting here where there's a lot of bricks involved and Wally's running
Flash,
around.
Wally doesn't quite know who he is. He's like, you're that guy, Hiram. He's like, Hector.
Yes, he's very offended. But what this boils down to, how to describe this? Hector Hammond wants transportation to Africa to go to Gorilla City, so he essentially, with his powers, uses Wally as a horse and cart, where he's like the cart and Wally's
is a rickshaw, I believe, is exactly the word the Wally uses.
Oh, is that what Wally uses? But he's literally running across the Atlantic Ocean, and there's like a psychic energy holding Hector.
Here's the thing, correct me if I'm wrong. Hector Hammond has a floating chair.
He does. Maybe the chair can only go so fast, though. Maybe this is much faster than the chair. Chair's top speed.
Yeah, but how long was he having to go, maybe I'll just see if Flash shows up.
Yeah, but
a few buses.
Yeah, but what if it's like an electric wheelchair where the top speed's like 5 miles an hour?
Get on a plane.
But then he has to wait in line. He has to go through security. There's a whole. He has to buy a ticket. He has to pay for it for a start. He's a villain. He's not like paying for things.
It was the 90s. Security was quicker to get through.
Oh dear. So that's how he ends up in Africa. He does explain a little bit of backstory for Hector Hammond. For anyone who doesn't know, just kind of roughly who he is. Green Lantern fought him. Yada yada yada.
I felt this issue was actually more expositionary than the Green Lantern one that we had.
I think that's because in this one, Hector basically explains who he is as just to Wally in dialogue, whereas with Grodd last issue, it was more about kind of Grodd doing his plan and then seeing the reaction of various characters to it. So it kind of got it through in a smarter way. But I wonder if that's just a simple case of like the roles they both play in the plot as opposed to like the skill of the writers like failing them, kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, far be it from me to say that Waid is a worse writer than Jones. That would be a very damning statement.
Yeah, I mean, Waid's a fantastic writer. We know this.
No, exactly. However,
yes.
That said, I think I might enjoy this issue less than the previous one.
I think that's fair. Do you think you'd have felt differently if you'd read this one first?
No. At the end of the day, I think the other one has more going on that feels interesting. Like, you've got the Bureau of the animals. It feels like it's bouncing around a bit more. It's got a bit more movement. Whether you necessarily like all of that stuff or not is a different question, but it feels like there's more going on. And then you get to the Grodd stuff at the end. Whereas this here, really, I felt like we spent a good 10 pages in the middle we'll do a 3-page fight with Hammond, and then we'll have him explain what's going on for about 4 pages. I felt that drag.
This one feels like it's got less to do. So I think this is almost just a short straw of like what, because this is less about Wally, less about Flash, and more about what Hector Hammond's role is in the plot.
Yes.
And I think that's what lets this one suffer more than the Grodd one, because Grodd's actually doing a lot more things.
Yeah, I agree. Which is why I ultimately don't think it would matter which way around I read these. I think I would still prefer the Green Lantern issue.
Yeah. Basically, Wally tricks him when they get to the jungle. He goes so fast that Hector is uncomfortable, shall we say. So he eventually yells him to stop. Basically, the idea it's kind of like just like, you know, the brakes in a car if you're going really fast, so someone goes through the windshield. It's essentially the same thing as that, where Hector goes flying because he's tricked him into making him stop. So that's Wally running through the jungle. He runs into Green Lantern, which is how we ended the first issue as well. So this is where we end. So Green Lantern is next, and then Flash issue 70 comes later. So next episode we will be talking about Green Lantern
issue
31. Sorry, yeah, because it says read the other side of this in issue 30 first.
Yes,
which is where,
because obviously originally I believe these two came out on the same day, so it was, even though it is labeled as such, maybe you weren't a regular Green Lantern reader and you just went to your shop and picked up this issue, got to the end and went, ah shit, back to the shop. Yeah,
it does maybe feel like you could potentially just read one of them, but it does. I do get the impression that you have to read both of the next like two, because it's definitely. I feel like it's going to be more linear now.
I agree. I think these two definitely feel like, I mean, if you miss one, it's no big deal, but it definitely seems. We'll judge accordingly, but it seems like the next two are very much parts 3 and 4 appropriately, whereas this, I mean, either one of these could have been 1 or 2.
It's kind of smart, actually, when you think about it. It's basically getting you into the crossover either way. So even if you don't go back and read the other issue, if you're invested in the story and want all, say, you know, like the rest of the story, you have to then know you're getting the other one for the next time.
Yeah, if you don't want to go back to your shop at the time, obviously, and pick up, in this case, you don't want to go back to the shop and pick up Green Lantern 30. You'd be like, okay, fine, I'll read Flash. I'll just get Green Lantern 31 next time and go from there.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would probably work fine.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. That was an okay issue, though, as much as it wasn't maybe as good. I mean, I did like the voice for the characters better in this issue, even if the actual events of this issue were less exciting.
That's fair.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's not bad. I mean, I think this crossover isn't going to be anything special. It kind of feels like it's just going to be a fun little romp.
It feels forgettable
between the two characters. I think it's interesting that, you know, starting Waid's run, we had the year 1 story, which feels like a really prominent part of the run that's important. I don't think, and you know, we enjoyed, relatively speaking, the Abracadabra, like 2 or 3 part or whatever that was, but it doesn't feel like we've gotten to the next big part of the run yet, which is fine. Not every arc can be the big, you know.
No, it feels like we came out really strong with the year 1 stuff, and then it's like, and here's just some stuff to tide you over until the next big thing, right? Is kind of the feeling I'm getting right now.
Yeah. So, but hey, it was not bad though. What are you going to give this issue?
I'm going to give it a 6.5. I'm docking a little bit just for over exposition.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give it a 7. It's kind of, you know, it's good. It's not great. You know, like you say, it feels a little bit like, oh, we'll have the fight with Hammond. I did love the visual of him sort of riding on Wally's back across the Atlantic Ocean, though. I have to admit that there's something just simply
kind of fun,
beautiful about that I can get into. But that is The Flash 69.